Hey, Amie,
Yeah, Juan.
give me that beat.
It's Baseball Shangri-La with Amie Cuevas and Juan Ramirez.
What's up, party people? She is Amie Cuevas. I am Juan Ramirez. You are listening or watching Baseball Shangri-La. If you are listening to us on the audio portion of the show, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast, rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, hit that notification button, give us a thumbs up, leave us your comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Bluesky at Baseball Shangri-La. Amie, ¿cómo estás?
So did my side freeze because I didn't hear the beginning of the intro.
Oh, really?
So it must have played on your side. It didn't play on mine because I was like, "What beat?" It got super quiet. So if you guys hear me asking what beat before he played it, hopefully it muted me. But
let me get back to you on that one because my mind is playing tricks on me. I thought it played it. Maybe it did not, but we
well,
will.
the good news is if it did play it just froze on my side. It mutes us automatically, so nobody would have heard my what what beat.
Whoopee. What you talking about? What you talking?
Hey, this is what happens when we take 2 weeks off because baseball has a slow news cycle. So,
That's right. ¿Cómo estás, Amy?
we are here with some baseball news, like little tidbits of baseball.
Yes, we've officially entered that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, where especially with the holidays around the corner, where it is hiatus, where and you know what? People deserve to take a break. It's been a very long season, especially for the Doyers because they started so early. All those people associated with the Doyers, I think they deserve to take some time off.
Except for
Um,
Blake Snell, because he's just touring with the trophy everywhere.
yeah, there's a lot of Dodger players that are doing the rounds there. But
I mean, I'm
again,
getting a lot of reading done. I think I'm 3 books in already, and I've gotten to go to the movies because they don't clash with baseball game start times. So, yeah,
see, doesn't it
not
feel good?
I mean,
Doesn't it feel good to have a
you've
life?
seen you've seen Fever Pitch, right? Where he talks about being like the winter version of himself versus the summer version. We have entered winter Amie and winter Juan stage.
You're hibernating. Good
Mhm.
call. Good call.
Yes.
And look, as we mentioned to everybody, during the off season, we're still going to be dropping episodes. How frequently we are dropping them, that will vary because of guess again, it all depends on if there's anything to talk about. And Amie and I can find a lot of things to talk about. Whether you guys will find it interesting or not, that's a different story. So sometimes we'll hold on to stories. And so that's what we're going to do here on this episode. But Amie, any comments from the comments corner on our last episode that you want to address?
We just had some people that were kind of commenting on some of the topics that we covered, like get rid of sports betting from Simply Brandy, the bench is clearing, things like that. The Kershaw curse said not only did Kershaw go out as a champion, he also went out as a back-to-back champion. We had some newer people who have been listening for a while but threw up a comment. So Jason Karen 100, thank you, for listening and for the support.
That was a first time caller, a long time listener right there.
Yes, it was.
Um, Speaking of, they just to address the Kershaw comment, Amie, did you see that the Dodgers offered Kershaw a spot in the front office and he turned them down?
No, I did not see that. I have been my nose has been stuck in books, so, like, I am peripherally watching baseball news, but I'm not, like, diving into it. So, really, he turned him down. Did they say
He,
what the position was for?
I believe it was more of a consultant, but let me see here.
Was it basically like, "Hey, your kids can come play on the field anytime you wanna come consult?"
Look, I don't blame him. I don't think they go into specifics until into what is the role because he declined. But it was just a role in the front office. Now,
Hmm,
you're absolutely right. It could have been just as an ambassador or anything like that. So this is according to Andy McCullough of the Athletic, and according to Andy. Andrew Friedman approached Kershaw with an offer to stay close to the team as a member of the front office, but Kershaw declined. And I fully expected this to be his rationale as to why he declined. Kershaw said, I don't think I have any full time jobs in my future, he said, except full time dad. Like
Yeah.
me, I think the reason why he retired is because he wanted to spend more time with his kids. He's got another one on the way. So I get the Dodgers extending it, and that's not to say that this offer won't be available to Kershaw a little later, but I think it's just a little too soon.
Mhm.
I said I was not surprised that Kershaw said no, but there is no specifics in terms of what the actual role would be, if it was more of an ambassador role or if it's actually, a serious role, you know.
Maybe helping with pitching and things like that. Who knows? Well, I'm sure the door's not closed. And we'll see him plenty of times, whether it's just even coming back for playing like alumni stuff, visiting the guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in the front office at some point.
I would not be surprised if the Dodgers visit the Rangers next year. I would not be surprised if we saw Clayton Kershaw and his family show up to Texas to see the Dodgers and the Rangers play.
100%. Oh yeah. That or maybe they were trying to lock him down so that, they're hoping he doesn't go over there, but like you said, he even said as much on Mookie's podcast. He's looking forward to being a dad and, maybe figuring out a hobby, but probably not because that's not really his jam. So, he knows baseball and he knows kids.
Exactly. No surprises there. Any other comments you want to go ahead and address?
No, just I think we're kind of hearing from everybody. They're trying to find their groove. I heard from one of our listeners, Sal. She's trying to kind of figure out what other leagues she wants to follow in the off season. And I know for me, I'm like I'm burned out. Like I need this time to unwind. But I think a lot of people are kind of looking at other leagues, where can I get my baseball fix? So it's interesting to hear how everybody's coping with the withdrawals.
That's true, and it's so quick to already have withdrawals. I mean,
Oh no, I had withdrawals that week. That's why I was like, "What? Spring training stuff came out? Okay, let me plan my trip." But
I,
yeah.
you love baseball more than I do, Amy, because I welcome the break. That postseason took a lot out of me, and I needed a break
I
from the stress.
I think I miss our team, but I don't have enough energy to put into other teams, other leagues, other sports. So while I do need the downtime, I miss it's like a habit almost. Like we've been so used to this every day and it's like, well, what do I do? What do you mean I can go to the movies at 4 o'clock on an afternoon? Like it's
I
weird.
mean, you bring up a very valid point. I don't invest this much time and energy on any other team. And maybe it's because, I'm a Raiders fan and the Raiders suck. So it really doesn't require me to invest a lot of time into that. The Lakers are probably the closest that I would come to investing time in, but it's nowhere near the
Mhm.
amount of time that I invest in the Dodgers. So I
I
am
rarely miss a
fascinated.
game, and if I do, I'm rewatching it. So, like, there's not a game I didn't watch last season.
So I'm very curious for those of you that are trying to find other leagues and other teams to invest your time to see if you can do it as much as you invest in the Dodgers. I would find that as a fascinating question. Okay, do you want to get things started? Should we talk some baseball?
Well, let's talk some baseball.
Well, pleasant good evening to you, wherever you may be. Amy, before we get into the topic, just a quick shout out to Ricardo Lunes, who just recently celebrated his 80th birthday. Amy, I was very surprised to find out he was 80 years old because let me tell you, I mean, I do think that Ricardo Luna sometimes is a really harsh critic. And sometimes I do pull the line on Ricardo that you pull on me. And it's like, do you even like baseball, bro? But I will say this, he is still very sharp and very good at what he does. And I hope I'm half as sharp as he is at 80 years old. So happy birthday, Ricardo Lunes.
That
Not
and
only
and
because I
physically fit
love,
too, because he makes it to the stadium for all those games, like, oof.
Yeah, I've become a big Ricardo Lunes fan, especially for his side eyes that he gives Steven Nelson. I really wish that continues and becomes a thing because I find it hilarious. I think it's so funny. But Amy, do you want to start with updates in terms of what's going on with the roster, or do you want to go to the World Series post?
I love how we try to get an order before the show and then it just goes out the window.
And to be fair, we made some changes right before we went on the air, and now I'm completely lost. So
Sure.
that's
I
why
I
I
can
don't
we
want
can
to throw you
reorganize.
curves.
No,
And
it's
and the
fine. That's
reason why is on my rundown list, the first thing I have is the non-tendered players.
which is why I numbered mine in different order when we were talking
See,
about it.
this is you're
Oh, we're
smarter than I am. You're
we're
smarter
pulling
than I
back the curtain for you guys.
am.
Yeah, let's go with the non-tendered players, updates, whatnot. That's fine.
All right, what do
Uh,
you got for us?
So much as we know, the Reds claimed Ben Rortvedt off of waivers, so he will now be a Cincinnati Red. Some of the people that I was talking to this weekend kind of bummed because he did play such a pivotal role at the end. Obviously, we know that Dalton Rushing's gonna play that secondary role to Will Smith next year, but
Do
it
we
was still
though? Do we? Have you heard the rumors on Dalton Rushing?
no. Why? Or is he gonna be trade bait?
Well, there is that, but the other rumor that I keep hearing is that he's a candidate for left field and that they really want to give him more at bats. And I mean, look, I think being a trade
Oh, couldn't
candidate,
he do both though? Like he gets Will off his feet a couple days a week. He plays left field, which is we're going to get into other potential players in a minute and one of them is plays left field, but I mean I don't see why he couldn't do both.
I hear you. I just think it would be really tough to have your backup catcher out in the outfield and he gets hurt. Then what are you doing with your backup catcher position, right?
Hoping that's available at the trade deadline.
I just I don't know. This Dalton rushing to the outfield is a thing that they've been trying to make happen, just like Fetch.
Fetch.
They've been trying to make Fetch happen for the longest time. I
Which,
still
if that
think
was the case, then I wish they would have held on to Rortvedt because I feel like he was a viable option behind Will Smith. Like,
I hear you. The thing real quick on Benny Biceps.
oh God, I hate when you call him that. The reason, so again, we're pulling the curtain back. The reason I hate that you do that is there's some inherent privilege that you get to say things like that. But if a woman says that, we get, oh, that's the only reason you're there. Oh, you're just here to look at the guys in the tight pants. And we get, but we talked about gatekeeping a couple months ago, and like that, we get discounted as fans. So we can't even do that in conversations without not being taken seriously. And then it's like, oh, Daddy Bonda or oh, Benny Biceps. And it's like it must be nice. So
It
and
is
like
nice.
they work hard to get where they are. So
It is nice that I have this privilege, and I just like those nicknames, so that's why I roll with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, I wear my privilege on my sleeve, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the thing. I I am kind of bummed that the Dodgers lost him, right? But at the same time, I love the fact that we're always going to have positive memories about Benny Biceps. Amy, you know this better than everybody. This fan base, and not just this fan base, but any fan base, can get super toxic. And there are times where they turn on players.
Ask Michael
Michael Conforto.
Conforto.
Exactly. Michael Conforto. That's the Michael Conforto Award, right? So I would hate that the fan base would turn on Benny Biceps if Benny all of a sudden just stopped hitting or wasn't producing. He had a magical run with the Doyers, and we will always have that memory, and he's always going to be
He's
beloved
like a
for
Curtis
that magical run.
Granderson or a Kevin. I mean, obviously Kevin Kiermaier retired, but like you do have the good memories. I just again that's something where like and it's not all of the fan base because there's a lot of people who don't turn on players, but I they're going to do what they're going to do regardless of what we think anyway. So they'll either, trot. I mean, because Dalton only got like sometimes 1 or 2 days a week. So if he's getting out there in left field, like you said, you hope he doesn't get injured, but is that going to plug the hole in left field the way we need it to also?
Yeah. So I mean, it's all
I'm like,
speculation.
leave him a backup catcher.
Yeah, it's all speculation at this point, right? We have to wait and
Our
see.
warm stove chatter.
Exactly. And I hate mind
You,
numbing hot stove talk.
you and me both. It's like the embers, like they're starting to kindle it, and here we go.
So I'll wait to see what they actually do with him. But just a real quick, those names that you mentioned of Kiermaier and Granderson, I don't have the same warm memories for them that I do for Benny Biceps. I would put Benny Biceps more in the category, and maybe this wouldn't be a fair comparison because Chase Utley ended up playing more than one season with the Doyers. But Chase Utley, I think, has a very warm still memory in Dodgers hands. I would think Benny Biceps, I would put him more in the. Do you remember Olmedo Signs? I'm totally aging myself. That they used to call him El Tomate. Olmedo Signs was basically he was a bench player for the Doyers, and he was what I would refer to as a professional hitter. I know this is probably before your time too, but I would put Benny Biceps in the category of Jose Lima time. Like these are players that had very brief moments in Doyer history, but whenever I mention their names, Olmedo Signs or Jose Lima, I get happy and I remember about the good. I don't have those memories for Granderson or Kiermaier. Uh,
Hmm.
but I think Benny Biceps, at least for me, is going to go down in more of the Lima time and the Olmedo Signs category.
Okay. I mean, I obviously like have good memories of him. I would have liked to have kept him, especially if they are going to try the left field experiment with rushing. But like I said, they have plans. We'll just find out on the back end.
That's true. What else you got, Amy?
As we know, Tony Gonsolin got outrighted to Oklahoma City. He selected free agency. They also signed a free agent, left-handed pitcher Antoine Kelly. He's on a minor league contract. They made a trade for left-handed pitcher Robinson Ortiz. They traded him to Seattle and got right-handed pitcher Tyler Goff. I think that's how you say his last name. They also selected another contract of left-handed pitcher Ronan Kopp. He's from Oklahoma City. And then the biggest ones, they non-tendered right-handed pitcher Nick Frasso and right-handed pitcher Evan Phillips. And they elected for free agency. And before everybody gets upset, there are still talks with Evan Phillips of potentially, re-signing or whatnot, depending on how his injury progresses after he had surgery. So it's not cutting ties with him. He was due $6 million in arbitration. They non-tendered him. So we'll see what happens.
And the rumor is that injury for Phillips was going to keep him out all of 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows? He may heal miraculously and have a chance. None of those moves surprise me. One thing I do want to call back to with the Catman. Remember when the Catman took that deal and everybody was like, man, why is he like, he could totally get more. Why is he signing more? And he clearly knew. I think more players, and I get it, you're betting on yourself, but the Catman got himself a nice little payday right now that he can lean back on as he tries to recover from this injury. Because who knows if I think the Catman is quite the cautionary tale that it's like, yeah, you can bet on yourself, but sometimes a lot of these things don't work out. There's no guarantee that the Catman is going to recover from this injury. This is like a second, I think, major injury to his arm.
Well, and we
And
don't know
so,
if they knew it, because we know that this happens sometimes. Like we hear it after the fact that the Dodgers, the player, they knew that he was injured. They both agreed at like an amicable number of like, okay, we know you're not going to play this year, but hey, we'll still get you paid. And maybe he agreed to that because remember, he was pitching injured for a long
yeah.
time. Like he pitched through all of that. It was, God, 2023. He was pitching through that before. And,
Yeah.
and did we see a little bit of that last year? God, they're all starting to blend. But we don't
Well,
know. He might have worked it out that way
he did. I mean, he was
for a
3 and
hot
2.
minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he clearly did not look. I mean, his ERA was 5, so
But
he
that's what I mean, like, him being kinda injured before, not being 100%, like, maybe they both, like, we'll just kinda we'll be cautious on both sides going forward.
And you're right. And so, in particular, what I was talking about was previously, and you mentioned in 2023, he avoided arbitration, right, with the Doyers, and he signed a 2-year deal of 6.65 million. And so, I think a lot of people were like, "What was he doing? Like, he could totally get more than that." And I think it's everything that you just said, Amy. I think he knew where his health was, and he's like, because he got himself a nice little payday as well for the 2025 season, 5.4 million. That was a 1-year deal. So again,
And lots of millions are nice, don't get me wrong, I don't have any millions, but
exactly.
sometimes it's, you know what, how many millions is enough based on, like, where my body is, like, obviously, if he's this injury riddled right now, that's not where he thought he would be at this point in his life, so it's almost like, "You know what, I'm gonna take the guaranteed payday," versus, at the time, trying to go out into free agency, again, coming off injury and seeing if somebody's gonna take the bet on him, where the Dodgers were willing to gamble on him and, kinda already knew where he was coming from.
And for me, that's like reality. We
Mhm.
so often have the extremes, right? We have the huge gamble that paid off. We have the gamble that didn't pay off and it's super sad times. And then we have the Tony Gonsolin example where, hey man, there's no guarantee I have tomorrow. So I'm going to take my money. And like you said, I don't have any millions. I would love to have $6 million, $5 million. There's a lot of bills I could
Would you
pay.
like $11 million right now? Here you go, buddy.
Absolutely. I absolutely. So, I think hats off to the cat man. He definitely took one for the team pitching injured, and it
Mhm.
might have hurt him in the long run. So I
But he
think
was still a Dodger and a World Series winner, so
exactly.
I think
Exactly.
I think that goes to this is not the first time we've heard it though. So although Tony Gonsolin may not be saying it and there's a lot of conjecture here, you heard it with Max Muncy, them picking up, his option this year. Like, could he have made more somewhere else? Maybe. But you've got the Muncies, you've got the Kikes who are kind of holding out for a contract. You have Teo who's taking a dip in his. Miguel Rojas, who's willing to take a dip in whatever he might earn because they want to stay on this team. They like the clubhouse mentality. They love what the front office is doing and they believe in the goal. And I think that speaks a lot for this team. Like, for all the people are saying, buying a World Series or, they have such a high payroll, players want to be here though. Like, I bet Nolan Arenado would still waive his no trade clause to come to the Dodgers this minute if he could.
Yeah, he absolutely wants to be a Dodger, but Nolan Arenado is a perfect example of, dude, she's just not into you. He was trying everything possible to get into on the
Well, it's just
Dodgers,
'cause
and the
they're so
Dodgers were like, no,
stacked.
we're not. No, it doesn't
Yeah.
work for us.
If you don't have, like, the Muncies and whatnot, like, the backfill, like, because there's other players, like, you're seeing other people kinda we're seeing a lot of these international, players that are coming into the pool, all this stuff, but it's like, well, you've got first base locked down with Freddie. For the foreseeable future, we've got Muncy at third unless he's gonna platoon and they pick up somebody else for the hot corner. So it's like, until they start making some moves around, I mean, that first base is pretty much blocked off, and Freddie's not gonna take a day off unless he has to.
There are some rumors of reunions that we're going to get into later on in the show that I think do impact Muncie. But I will say this, Amy, at $10 million, even if he doesn't have his typical Max Muncie year, I think that's a bargain
I
for
think
the Doyers.
it's good for both sides. Again, how many millions are like, would you love to be making more? Sure, but 10 million is like 10 million's more millions than I have.
That's
I
right. I'll take
um,
it.
the only other things, they're not really transaction related, but Tommy Edman was due to have surgery this week on his right ankle, and Brandon Gomes had said that he should be ready for spring training. And then we did see that there was a little bit of a hubbub, and then Kike leaked on his Instagram that he did have surgery on November 14th. That was to repair his elbow extension muscle. So that's the one that he tore in May during a Cincinnati Reds game. He was sliding home, and you saw him collide with the catcher. Um, I didn't realize he was playing through all that pain. Like, I know he went on the IL, but it was all, we don't find out till the off season, but it caused it to break the bone. Like, just the fact that he's playing through that, played through the World Series, played through the criticism. And again, this is just a testament to what these guys do to their bodies. Tony Gonsolin, Kike, like he's having surgery now just because his bone broke. Good grief.
You have some other thoughts on this story, though, right?
Yeah, so we saw that a couple of the beat writers, Dave Vassay, people had posted that he was ambushed at the airport. I had a lot of people sending me the video of it too, and this for me is where like media hat, fan hat, whatever, take them all off. He's still a person, and it really bothered me that that person was following him and his wife around the airport. Like, dude, he's just trying to get on a flight, and I know some people will argue, well, this is why they make the big money. But at the end of the day, they're still people. So for me, like, I did not like that the person kept following them, kept talking to him. Like, I know when I'm at the airport, I don't want to be bothered. I'm stressed out. Like, again, just because they have millions does not mean that they're not humans.
I did take issue with Dave Vassay using ambush. I think you bring up very valid points. The reason why I wouldn't categorize it as an ambush is because Kike was out in public. He is a public figure. Him getting surgery is definitely news. That to me is where the story ends. I agree with you in the sense that once you start talking to Kike and Kike himself starts saying, "Hey man, I'm on a lot of drugs right now," and you can clearly see that he is maybe slightly impaired, and kudos to his wife for stepping in and nipping it in the bud. I think ethically, I don't know if this was a journalist or if he was just a normal fan, because there's a lot of TMZ people out there who get this stuff and sell it. But ethically, if you see your subject is in that state, I do think you have a responsibility to stop recording and do exactly what you said. Stop following him around. You already got the story, which is he had surgery, and that to me is as far as it should have gone.
But to me, I guess because this is not like, again, we kind of talked about this last week. Like, this is not like life or death stuff. This isn't like political stuff that's breaking news. Like, you're going to find out he had surgery or not. It's Kike. You're going to see this stuff get posted. So to me, like, breaking news, like just because he's a public figure, to me, that's the so what of this. Because again, it's not life or death. I don't, and maybe this is just the stance that I come from, how we cover the players. Who cares if you broke the news? When people are breaking it, whether it's, Jeff Passan, whatever, okay, great. It's a little bit more reputable when it comes from that side. But at the same time, so what? At the end of the day, you don't get a bonus for breaking it. Like, we're going to find out anyway. Let the man have his privacy. I don't care if he's a public figure or not. Those moments, he wasn't in his Dodgers role. He was getting on a plane. And to me, that's like, back off. You don't get the story later. Hey, do you mind if I ask you a question? No, we're getting ready to get on a flight. All right, my bad. Let me step away. And then you don't keep recording, because to me, there's also the ethical side of like, yeah, you want to break a story, but like, not like that. Not like that.
What else do we got in terms of?
I think that was pretty much it. The other thing, you kind of just teased it, was like, we've heard some rumblings about some potential reunions. I kind of wanted to get your take on it, because we're hearing a lot of stuff about Corey Seager potentially wanting to waive his no trade clause, and then we're hearing a little bit of rumbling of like, could there be a reunion with Cody Bellinger? Jeff Passan had put a lot of stuff about that in the last week. So just a lot of people have thoughts.
Here's my thing, and because again, I hate mind-numbing trade talk.
And the only reason I'm bringing this up, because I'm right there with you. I hate it. Like, tell me after they've signed.
Exactly.
It's just because they're former Dodgers. This is where like I'm a little like, I don't care like if we sign him or we don't sign him. It's interesting how people feel about it.
Yes, and so the thing is that I'm totally on board with wake me up when it happens. Let's start with the Corey Seager thing first, because I think the Cody Bellinger one is probably a little more realistic because he's a free agent.
I would be on board with the Cody Bellinger one. I would be more on board with that one than than Corey Seager.
Look, I would love to have Corey Seager on the team. I really do, because I think that guy is in the same vein as Kike. That dude is a playoff performer. You saw what he did for the Doyers in the playoffs, and you saw what he did for the Rangers when the Rangers won the World Series. So I would totally love to have Corey Seager. The issue that I have, and of course it's not my money, but Corey Seager has a 10-year contract of $325 million.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Seager is also getting older. Corey Seager is also a big dude. And what would concern me, like, Corey Seager's 31 years old. Okay. That contract that he signed takes it all the way. Jeez. I'm totally losing sight because he signed
He's
it.
got 6 years left, and if he's 31 now, so he'll be like 37, 38, give or take.
And it's usually Stan Kasten usually has this motto that that's usually 35. He likes to have contracts through 35, but Federico's contract is going to take it to about the same age as Corey Seager's. The thing that would concern me about Corey Seager is injuries.
Mhm.
And as he gets older, because he's a big dude, I think he would be prone. That being said,
He has been prone to, though, so, like, that's
yeah.
that's my biggest concern. Like, when people asked me point blank this weekend, it was like, I love Corey Seager. I don't want him because he is injury prone, and we need to know kinda where he's at. The other part is, like, Texas wants to shed that payroll. I don't know that we necessarily, I think the number I saw is he has about 190 million left. Like, I taking on that much for somebody who tends to be a little bit more injury prone during the season. But then, I was talking to one of our listeners, Philip, and he's like, yeah, but you just carry him, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, you just carry him till the off season.
See,
And it's like, do you want to take that roster spot though for that much money on a contract?
that to me is where the Dodgers, I think, have the advantage. Like I said, I would love to see him at third base. I really would. But here's the
Has he
thing.
been playing much third base, or is he still
No,
short?
he's still playing shortstop, but I
Oh, okay.
think if you trade him, you're having the conversation of, all right, if you're coming to us, you're coming to us because we're moving you to third base. I really feel like that because I do think Mookie is their shortstop. I think Mookie wants to play shortstop. I don't think they want to move, or I
No.
don't think Mookie wants to move again, to tell you the truth. So
He's already said, like, it has to do with the issues for his body out in right field. So for everybody who's like, just move him back, like, he also can't be out there for whatever reason. So it looks like for last year, Corey played in, oh God, I'm not going to do math right now. Basically, he played 97 games at shortstop, 5 as DH. So played about 103 games?
yeah, so I like I said, if he comes to the Dodgers, he would be
102. Sorry.
he would be the third baseman. But here's where I think the Dodgers have the leverage, in the sense that they could probably, hey, Texas, you guys want to shed payroll? We'll take more money on if that means we have to give you less prospects. And I know that would be appealing to Texas. But the other issue that we're going to have, Amy, and this is going to be a recurring conversation, is after 2026,
Mm-hmm.
we have a new collective bargaining, and you don't know. I like.
You don't wanna
I would
carry that much payroll when we don't know what's gonna happen, if there's gonna be a
exactly,
cap or not, because then
exactly.
now you're in the boat that Texas is in, and it's like, "Well, now we have to shed this." And I'm looking, he played 6 games at third base in 2015 for the Dodgers.
Yeah,
So,
that's why. Like I said,
I mean, in all of the years he's played, it's been shortstop or DH, but, he's got those 6 games under his belt.
like I said, I would love to have him as at third base, but I think there's just too many question marks as to what it will do to your team, and it's more related to the collective bargaining agreement than
Mhm,
anything. Besides, I do think you can use. You're going to need those chips to trade to maybe find some other solutions to your outfield. So that's why I'm not too excited or think that this is a realistic ability. And also, here's the other thing: there are plenty other teams out there who would be willing and could use a Corey Seager, and I think would be more willing to overpay and be more aggressive than the Doyers. I think the
Well, Jeff
Doyers,
Passan actually reported that New York and Boston are supposedly not on his no trade list. So they haven't, we
yeah.
don't know who else is on it, but as of right now, New York and Boston are. So who knows? He could be even closer to the East Coast.
Yeah, and I don't think, and that was reported the reason why he didn't want to resign with the Doyers because he wanted to be closer to the East Coast because of his family. But
Mhm.
again, I don't think the Doyers are going to get in some sort of bidding war with any of those teams. If the Doyers get Corey Seager, it's because they're getting him on their own terms. And again, the big question, Amy, is do they even want Corey Seager? I
Right.
know us like I look back at certain reunions that have worked for the Dodgers. Matt Kemp worked for half a season. Russell Martin worked for a year. A lot of these times these
Kike.
reunions, yeah, these reunions work, but they work for a very short amount of time. And Corey Seager still has a lot of time left on his contract. So
I think
I'm
if it wasn't so many years and so much money, then it might be something that's a little bit more viable. But because he's so injury prone, because there's more than half of the contract left, like to me, that's where it gets a little iffy. Not that they're asking us in any way, shape, or form. That's where like Jeff Passan had mentioned that the LA has expressed interest in Cody Bellinger, but so have a lot of other teams. That one seems a little bit more realistic based on the needs that they have. And again, that also comes into whatever they may or may not want to do with Michael Conforto. I mean, I know he's a free agent, but that's still up in the air too.
yes, I will agree in the sense that I think Bellinger is more realistic than Seager, but I also don't think that the Bellinger thing has a high probability of working.
He wants to get paid.
For that reason alone, and also from what I'm hearing, the Yankees really like him, and the Yankees really want him back. And like you said, he wants to get paid. I think they're going to be. I don't think the Doyers are going to get in a bidding war with Cody Bellinger for Cody Bellinger, excuse me. And I think you're going to see more teams out there that would be willing to offer Cody Bellinger more money.
Hmm. No, I agree. I agree. You mentioned Matt Kemp, and he showed up as a first timer on the class of 2026 ballot for the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Oh, and there's nothing wrong. I mean, that guy had a good major league career.
I know you don't want everybody in there though. I was just happy that he got
No, I know, but I
and I know
think that
he's up for it, but still.
I know, but I think it's just one of those things where I think sometimes people will look at it like if he doesn't get enough votes to stay on the ballot, like, oh, that's a bad thing. It's just like, no, dude, that guy had a good career. Not everybody and he's a perfect example of injuries really cut his career short. And it really kind of robbed us of what could we have seen with Matt Kemp if he stayed healthy. And it's one of those really, we talked about Tony Gonsolin. Matt Kemp is one of those realistic things where this is what happens. Injuries sometimes rob people of what could have been greatness. And it's just a sad, sad
Dustin May.
reality.
Like
Yeah.
he
Dustin
didn't
May.
not that he didn't bounce back. Obviously, he's still in the league, but I think he and also the Dodgers had, higher hopes for where he would be and like injury is just they gotta, especially for pitchers, get a better handle on this, or we're gonna probably see more of this. These guys take a while to come up. I know we're seeing some people being fast tracked more in recent years, but like for the time that these guys are like prepping just to get to the show if they're lucky enough, and then to have something like that happen, especially when they're so sought after and they have such promise, it's like, man, potential is a killer sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going back to Cody Bellinger, I think the type of player that Cody Bellinger is exactly what the Doyers want. They want he can play any of those three outfield positions,
And play
and
them well.
then of course he was a former first baseman, so he could spell. Federico's getting older. I know Federico doesn't like to take games off or stuff like that, but sooner or later you're going to have that uncomfortable position, a conversation with him where it's like, no, dude, it benefits the team if you take a day off every once in a while.
It's almost
And
like
be
Will Smith. He needs to be spelled for him to be fresh in October,
Yeah,
and you just gotta roll with it.
Exactly. But I do think it's going to be a challenge for the Doyers because I think they have a certain number in their head for Cody Bellinger, and I just don't know if the market is going to dictate that number for Cody Bellinger or Cody Bellinger is going to like the number that the Doyers. But like you said earlier, everybody wants to be a Dodger. Like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of an organization that has won back-to-back World Series, that goes
Mhm.
out there and pays players what they deserve? Like, so there
But not
may
only that, but they all get along because, like, we've heard things about other people's clubhouses, locker rooms, whatever, and you might have those people, they get the people they need, but the cohesiveness is still lacking.
Speaking of that, did you see Federico do the worm at Gavin Lux's
Oh
wedding?
my god, every time he does it, like, I think it's cool, but I'm just like, "You're not young enough to do that anymore in the off season." Like,
You
you
know the
cannot break
Bravos
anything.
you know the Bravos banned him from
I
doing
did.
that.
That's why I'm like, "Okay, we might need to ban it at this point just because we need him healthy for next year." I'm not saying don't have fun, Freddie. Go dance your face off, but, like, maybe not the worm. Maybe not the worm.
Anything else on the reunions?
No, that was it. I was just curious, kinda you and I were pretty much in sync on that one.
Let's talk about some awards. There were some awards that were given out, Amy.
Did you
Which one?
watch the award show with Roy Wood Jr. and Mookie hosting?
Yeah, I only watched the highlights, and I saw everybody because I'm just like, get a life, guys. Really, like everybody complaining about Mookie's joke or the fact that Mookie was out there hosting. Yeah,
Why? He's said he wants to do more of that stuff in the off
it-
season. Like, it's gonna be Mookie or somebody who doesn't know baseball well. I'd rather have the guy who has the inside track. I didn't realize that there were people again, this is me taking a tiny step back from baseball in the off season. I didn't realize people were complaining. I thought it
well,
was great.
you heard the off-color joke, right?
Which one?
The one about the testicles.
No. I got through it. Was that in the beginning? Because I didn't hear that in the beginning.
All right, so I'll go ahead and give your take on the awards, and then I'll fill you in on it.
Oh, well, and if I heard it, I probably just, like, didn't think obviously, I didn't think anything of it because I was like, "Eh, whatever." Um, well, so we found obviously Paul Skeens won, he unanimously for the NL Cy Young award, but Yoshi finished 3rd, which I thought was really pretty good. I mean,
Yeah,
he wasn't gonna beat Paul Skeens.
no, he
Um,
wasn't. He wasn't. And honestly, I have no problem with him finishing third. In the end, I think Yamamoto ends up being the winner here because he won the World Series. Not only did he win the World Series, but he won the World Series MVP. Look, a Cy Young is nothing to sneeze at, but you're absolutely right. Paul Skeens deserved it. Christopher Sanchez, if you saw what he did to the Unicorn in the playoffs, he was definitely worthy also as well. So I have no issues with how the awards went. So
the
okay,
only issue I have is I don't like that they're voting before the postseason. Like, I get it, it's based on the regular season, whatever, but, like, I feel like the postseason should factor in at least a little bit. I know I'm not gonna change the rule, you know, orientation or the regulations, but it does seem a shame, especially because we've expanded the playoff, like, teams, the people that can be involved, so I think that there's still a lot of time for players to really show their merit or their mettle that maybe you didn't see in the regular season and they can shine, a little bit more than what they already did, and we don't factor that in. Okay, what do you got?
so just because we're gonna get into the deep dive here, so the Mookie joke that I was referring to was when they asked him, "Where were you in 1991?" and he replied, "In 90, man, I was in my daddy's balls. Okay, 91, I wasn't even born."
Okay, so what is wrong with that?
There's nothing, and that's why when
Oh, were
I'm
people
seeing
upset?
And that's the thing. It's like when Mookie goes out there
Were we
and he
clutching our pearls?
pretty much
Oh
when
my
Mookie goes out there, because Mookie now, I believe, and check me on my math, has now played more years as a Dodger than as he has as a Boston
I
Red
love
Sox.
that you just say this stuff and you're like, "I think," but check me.
Chad, check me on my math.
You
Look,
check.
all right, I
Hold
will.
on. You're checking next time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3,
The
4,
math
5,
is not my
6.
strong point.
It's so he's played 6 and 6.
Okay. So eventually, all right, next year. So this, but all right. So let me say this. When they asked him that, and he said he loves being a Dodger. He's loved it ever since he came over here. And I'm just like, with the way this guy's been treated by the fan base sometimes, Mookie's a better person than I am. Because it's like, bro, you've done everything. You 3 championships you've delivered to this organization. And then you get a fan base
But
who
it's
is
not the whole
criticizing him
fan
because
base.
he made a joke. Oh, you're
But
right. It's not
I
the
think that's what he recognizes though, because I don't think that way. I don't have bad thoughts about Mookie. So when I see this stuff online, I am appalled and I'm disgusted. And I'm like, you guys get to have your opinion, but like, I don't share it. So I think he's intelligent enough to know that it is not the entire fan base and you just shut that stuff out. And he's got a team that's behind him. He's got a front office that's behind him. I like the fact that he was up there with Roy Wood Jr. and they weren't code switching and making it, to whatever. Like he was talking in the way that he was comfortable. And too often we have to code switch in this world to fit in, to be, part of the whole. And I like that he was being himself.
So, do you remember that part, or did I get duped on AI? Because a lot of times now, when I'm watching clips on social
I
media, I'm like, "That's not real. That's not real."
So I started watching it and I watched like the beginning and then like as it went on, because it's on the MLB TV app. So like you can go back and rewatch it. Then as they started like kind of talking more about awards and stuff, I was working on my notes for the show for tonight. So I mean he could have said it. I don't know if he did. I was more focused on the beginning. Like they were talking about the pitch clock and then Flava Flav came out and it was just like, I don't know.
Because I saw the clip, but
But
now I'm
even
wondering if it was AI, and I'm getting duped.
I hate that. Regardless though, even if that was the clip, we're all adults here. Like this goes back to even the Kike thing with what he said last year. We're all adults. If this offends you, turn it off, don't watch it. If you don't like what's being said or you don't want your kids to hear it, that's a good jumping off point for a conversation. This is how some people talk. We don't talk this way. But like not everything is going to fit everybody's little container for how they like things. To me, if I had heard it, I didn't hear it last night when I was rewatching it, that wouldn't have bothered me at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to wrap things up on Mookie real quick, he did also win the Roberto Clemente Award, which to me is a huge deal. I absolutely like. I couldn't talk enough for the fact that he won this award. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's in recognition of your community involvement, philanthropy, positive contributions. And he was not, I mean, earlier this week, he was out there at the Dream Center handing out, I believe it was turkeys or Thanksgiving meals.
So
So,
they actually awarded it to him during the World Series. So on Monday, when we were there covering the team, before the 18-hour game, he and his family were there. Rob Manfred was there. So they were all on the dais when he got the award. And he's so humble. And then his wife got to speak as well because he was like, well, she does just as much. So, she got to put in like her 2 cents on it. And so well deserved, totally well deserved.
and I love that he gave credit to her too.
Mhm.
I think that
A
that was huge.
partnership.
We didn't get a chance to cover it during the World Series because there was so much to talk about. But for me, I think that is a huge deal that Mookie won that award, and that's why it really gets my goat when I get it, like he didn't
I
have the
don't know why
greatest
there's so
season.
much I don't know why there's so much hate though, because
Yeah,
like other
yeah.
players do the same thing and it's like they don't get the same treatment. And it's like that has more to do with the people that are dishing it out, I think, than with Mookie himself. So
Yeah, I mean,
mirrors all around for everybody.
it's all, I mean, it's on a different level, and it's for different reasons. I mean, LeBron gets hate too, and I think he does some things that I think rub people the wrong way. But Mookie, I don't think he's done anything to the level to receive the level of hate or criticism that he gets. So it's just really baffling to me.
He's
Uh,
from what I have seen, he is like one of the nicest guys. Obviously, like I don't go home with him. I'm not with him and his family at night, but everything that I've seen from him when we're interacting with him, or we see him interacting with like the people on the field or working out before games. Like he is a stand-up individual. Um, that being said, we did hear the MVP announcements. So Aaron Judge won for the AL. Shohei Ohtani won. So that's 4 MVPs in 5 seasons, and 2 in each league were unanimous. He also got the Edgar Martinez Outstanding DH Award and the Hank Aaron Award for the top hitter in each league. Like, of course, he has to have a second house for all these awards at this point.
And I really get, ladies and gentlemen, the argument with Schwarber. I really do. But this guy is the unicorn. And as much as you want to argue, everything that Schwarber did to contribute for the Phillies, you can't argue what the unicorn did on the pitching side. When you are literally
that
doing
one game.
exactly. When you are literally doing something that nobody else is doing, I don't think you can ignore it. I know some people, well, that's an unfair advantage that he has, Juan. And eventually, of course, that's going to put him over the top to win MVP compared to Kyle Schwarber. And I'm like, yeah, that's the reality that we're in, ladies and gentlemen. When he is literally doing something that no one else is doing, he deserves to be recognized for that.
And the game that I'm referring to doesn't even count because they, voted on it before the postseason. But like his 6 scoreless innings in the postseason and 3 home runs, and it's just like he continues to dazzle. I did love the little thing that they posted because he started out with the Buenas tardes Fanaticos and went on to say like, I appreciate your support, thank you. And so I'm just like, oh, our little guys.
And not only that, but the unicorn also was on the first team All MLB. And the only other Dodger to do that was Yamamoto. So again, yeah, Yamamoto lost on the Cy Young, but okay, Paul Skeens has an ERA under 2, 1.97. Okay, but Yamamoto was also recognized by being on the first team All MLB. Will Smith.
I forgot about that. I have that in like pictures and screenshots from like weeks ago because it feels like there's so much we're supposed to cover. Oh,
Will Smith made the second team All MLB, and with the season that Cal Raleigh had, I really have no qualms with that. I can't argue with that. I mean, this is when you're talking about the elite. So it's like, okay, Will Smith didn't make first all team. That doesn't make him a bum. It happens. This is really, really hard. So that's why
there's a lot of good players in this league.
Exactly. So that's why when you have just to be, I know people hate that, just to be nominated is a thrill enough. It's like, hey, look, you're getting recognized. It'd be different if you weren't even being recognized at all. But you're being recognized as, hey, man. And now it's like it's very. We're going to be picking at straws here to make the difference. Somebody has to be the winner. No one's going to be happy. One more thing.
I was just going to say, I think that's that sticks in my craw for the next one.
What's the next one you want to cover?
Just Dave Roberts not getting any votes. Like, congratulations to Pat Murphy, 2nd year in a row. That's great. I'm just more shocked that like Dave Roberts got no votes, like none. I'm like, okay. I mean, he won again voting before the postseason, but he still managed to get a team all the way across the regular season with so many injuries, and they still won the division. I get that Milwaukee had the better record throughout the season, but like to not have any votes is just very interesting to me.
Dave Roberts I think this is going to go down as part of his narrative in the end I think the question you're going to get from people is, did he ever really get the credit that he deserves?
He's like, I've got 3 rings, whatever.
Exactly. And there's a lot of people, a lot of managers, a lot of coaches that you could say, they don't get enough credit or they get too much credit. A lot of people take winning for granted, Amie, and it's one of those things that because you win all the time, you just assume that it's easy. How many times I've heard people say, well, I could manage this team with the lineup and the players that they have. But again, I've said this before, and I'll say it again about Dave Roberts. I think Dave Roberts greatest strength is how he manages those personalities in that clubhouse. And not only that, but how he manages the media, every day
The front
having to,
office.
yeah, the front office. I mean, it's not a hard job. And for him to, he's building a resume now that he's just really got to go scoreboard now. Like people are going to try to go out of the way to make a narrative against him, and I think they're just going to end up looking silly, to tell you the truth, trying to do that.
Well, and that's I think you brought up like the armchair managers and things like that. Like that's assuming you have perfect situations. Like this guy is balancing the player that maybe didn't get enough sleep because their kids, the player's son was sick or daughter was sick, or you have a situation like Freddie where they're in the hospital. Like there's so many other things going on than these guys just coming in perfect condition every day ready to play. You've got moods, you've got stressors, you've got even when they don't feel well and they're still playing through it. Like he has to you make so many moving parts come together. And I think again, I'm not saying like people can vote how they want. I'm not saying Pat Murphy shouldn't have won. I'm just shocked that Dave Roberts got no votes at all. And to me that's I don't know if that's people just throwing shade because, it's the Dodgers and they're buying a World Series or what. I don't lend credence to that, but it was I mean, even Yamamoto got votes. It was just like for him not to get any votes?
No, I see where you're coming from. I'm not surprised that he didn't get any votes because, again, I think he is taken for granted.
And it's
Uh,
it's that though, that's why. Like,
but at the same time, I do think you're right. Egregious is like not even one vote. Like nobody thought, hey
mhm.
man, that guy's doing a good job over there. That I mean, that team had a lot of injuries that they had to manage. And I'm not taking the postseason into account. I'm literally
No,
taking in
100%.
the regular season to win the division and managing those injuries that requires something. So again, I think it's one of those adages that he's going to have to deal with when they look back at his career, because there'll be people that will give the front office more credit than they'll give him for
Mhm.
running that team. And that's
But the
it
minute he makes a
sucks.
mistake, it's fire Dave Roberts.
Well, not only that, it's fire Dave Roberts, but at the same time, then they go after the front office, or they'll tell him, "It's like, is the front office telling you what to do?"
Mhm. Like, he
I mean,
doesn't get credit one way or another. I'm like,
yeah,
"The guy's doing a good job, man."
and it sounds like, honestly, to tell you the truth, Amy, he's perfectly aware of it. He understands with it, and it does not bother. He is unbothered by that.
Dave Roberts is gonna Dave Roberts. No,
Yeah,
I was more upset on his behalf. He hasn't said anything. He's fine. He won a World Series. He's won 3 in the last 5 years. He'll be
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, I think he comes out winning here, but in order for him to win Manager of the Year, I think he's going to have to do something really, really special. And I just don't. I think it's going to be very hard for him. I think it's the same thing Phil Jackson experienced. I think the same thing that Steve Kerr experienced. It's like when you have that level of success, people just assume, hey, you have it easy. You have it
Mhm.
easy, and you really don't give them credit for the actual work that they're putting in.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Lots of World Series related news.
Let's go to the World Series. I mean, we talked about the World Series, but kind of the stuff that this is after World Series stuff. So, Amy, you want to tell us about the bonuses?
Yeah, so this is always intriguing to me. I kind of wish they would release more information just because I like math numbers. I love it. There was a projected $135 million pool for the team shares, and Codify actually released something for the breakdown. So the World Series teams, the Dodgers got $48,600,000, and then Toronto got $32,400,000, and then it kind of breaks down from there. But like 48 million, that's not too shabby.
No, I'll
I
take
mean,
it.
that's many millions, even split, because I did see some comments on there like, "Ah, well, they've all gotta split it." Yeah, but it's money that if you hadn't made it to the postseason, you weren't gonna get anyway, so, like, a bonus is a bonus.
I mean, I get it. For the unicorn, it's petty cash, but I'll take it.
Right? "Oh, you don't need it? You wipe your nose with it? Sure, give it
Yeah,
to me."
exactly.
Um, so the championship series losers, so Seattle and Milwaukee, they each got 16,200,000. And then the division series losers, so that's the Yankees, the Tigers, the Cubs, and Phillies. They got $4,387,500 $500 each. And then the wild card losers, they all got about $1 million. So Cleveland, Boston, Cincinnati, and San Diego all got $1,012,500. So like everybody was up over the millions. So not too shabby. Good for them.
Look, all that tells me, Amie, is that business is good. And let me tell you, as much as people want to tell you that baseball is dead, the ratings of this year's World Series tells me something different, and the bonuses that you just went over right now tells me something different, which just frustrates me that we're heading into a season that could possibly be the last season because people are arguing over money when right now you got a golden goose on your hand. Why do you want to kill it? Like, why would you? It seems so stupid to me.
No, I 100% agree with you. And the people who are complaining and the people who are going to like kill this whole thing are the people who are not willing to spend. So like I just don't get it. Like the people who are griping the loudest, okay, so take your money and put it back into the team, just like we've been saying for the last couple of years. It's a model that works. We're seeing it. It's paying off. Why would you not do the same thing?
I mean, let's just look at the ratings, because look, this is where a lot of major League Baseball gets their money from the gate. Okay, it seems like baseball has a really good. They're doing really well with attendance. Even the teams that are struggling are doing okay with attendance, but TV money. TV money is filling in a lot of these teams' pockets, right? And so when you look at the World Series, this World Series had an average of 16.1 million viewers in the United States. If you combine that with what was going on with Canada, it goes up to 24.3 million. Okay. This 7-game series, World Series, was the most watched World Series since 2017. What happened in 2017, Amie?
I don't want to talk about that. You say it, because I'm just going to get angry all over again.
No, but in 2017, the Dodgers were in the World Series, and
Mhm.
they were in the World Series after a huge gap of time.
Mhm.
So again, everybody wants to
They didn't even
villainize.
make it in 2016. The Cubs knocked them out.
Yeah. So everybody wants to villainize the Dodgers, that they're bad for baseball, they're ruining baseball. If you look at the ratings, whenever the Dodgers are in the World Series, it's good for baseball in the ratings. I mean, if you take into account globally and some of these numbers globally, internationally, this was the most watched World Series since 1992, Amie.
Mhm.
Again, the Dodgers are driving all of this, and it's like this narrative that you guys, that not you guys, but this narrative that's being pushed out there that the Dodgers are bad. It just seems like it's sour grapes.
Mhm.
I don't get it.
I feel like with all of these things we've presented over the course of this episode, it's just like we need to put these into evidence for next year, because these are all the things that everybody's saying is bad. It's like, but we have proof that it's not bad. Like I read a stat that Game 7 had 51 million viewers in
Yeah,
between the US, Canada, and Japan, and that was the most watched game in 34 years since 1991. That was just Game 7. And
exactly.
then that game beat the NBA finals this year. So game 7 of the NBA finals by over 50% were the initial reports from Fox. And that's not even talking about the ad revenue. So Sportico was they were guessing at it. So by game 6, they already had a number, and they said if they forced a game 7, which we knew they did, Fox was on target to make 330 million in World Series ads.
Yeah, and what's crazy, Amie, is this, and that is the NBA is considered a young person's game, right? And everybody always argues that Major League Baseball, it's too old, baseball's too old, the young kids don't like that. Why come then viewership among fans that are 17 and under increased by 11% compared to the previous year, making this the highest numbers for that age group since? 2017. Again, driven by the Doyers. I just
I'm
like
seeing the correlation here.
I just feel like Major League Baseball is on an upswing right now. Do not do anything to mess this up, because you look at those numbers that the World Series produced. We all know that the NFL is king. Football is king when it comes to TV ratings. And that nobody wants to go up against football for TV ratings because you're going to get killed. Those World Series numbers, and I get it, it's the World Series, but those World Series numbers were competitive with some NFL games. So again, like Manfred, you do not get let ego, do not let pride get. You guys are doing well. You guys can continue to grow this game. You have the kids who are interested in this game. Like, keep feeding. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm like, and Manfred's in the corner, like, but what about the golden at bat? What about the golden at bat?
Yeah.
I
It's
know, I agree wholeheartedly with you. Like to me, this is where you continue to grow it, keep that momentum going, especially as we're bringing even just more countries in. Like we know it's been an international sport, but we're getting more Japanese viewers, Korean viewers, etc. Like it should be a melting pot. That's how you spread the love of this game. I even saw that MLB. So in the midst of this, they struck a new deal with NBC, Netflix, and ESPN. So they're going to have their consecutive terms with ESPN. That still continues. So NBC will get the Sunday night package with the wild card playoffs. Netflix gets the Home Run Derby, the Field of Dreams, the World Baseball Classic in Japan, and opening night. And then ESPN will get the midweek game package. So we'll see how that
like
goes.
I'm a little conflicted on that part. The reason why I think you absolutely need to go to those streaming, because that's how, especially the young kids, that's how everybody watches TV now, right? So you have to get involved in streaming. My concern, and I think a good litmus test of this, is going to be the NBA. The NBA right now is on a similar model that Major League Baseball is going to be in the sense that you have games on different platforms. And I think the problem is when you have so many different platforms and people are going to have to pay for all those platforms,
Mhm.
they're going to get frustrated and be like, no, 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 you're making it too hard for me to watch the game.
It
So
already
that's
is frustrating. You've got Apple TV, you've got the random Roku games, you've got some on ESPN. Fox is a little easier, but like there's a lot. It's don't make it too hard to watch the games. You see the
right.
grumbling online, and then you add to that they have whoever their commentators are, and a majority of those people, much like in the postseason, don't really know the players that well. We're used to it because we're more regional, but then they get on here and you're like, yeah, you said that stat like 20 minutes ago. You're going to say it again. Like you know that they don't have much more to say because they're not familiar with these players, but they're getting thrown into them because it's on their channel or whatever, and it's not enjoyable for a majority of the population or the fan base that's watching it.
Did you see Joe Davis get killed for being a Dodger homer during the World Series?
And see, I feel like he did a pretty good job being neutral. Like to me, like I just this is like again a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like there's so much like polarity in this sport. Like fans either hate stuff or they love it. And I feel like a lot of the stuff in the sport tends toward the negative, where it's like, okay, you didn't like it. I don't like the ESPN broadcast, or I don't like this one. Do you know what I do? I turn on my radio because I'm not going to be able to change it. Everything that I just said, the Apple streaming or the Roku streaming, I don't like their broadcasters. But I'm not going to go and complain on their site. I'm just going to go turn on the radio and listen to Rick Monday because that's what I have the power to do.
Yeah, I was surprised, to tell you the truth, because I didn't think that he was being a homer. But Bill Simmons on his own podcast was calling him out, and I'm just like, I don't see it, man. And maybe I'm just too close to it to be objective, truly be objective over it. But I felt like he was giving the Azulejos as much love as he was giving the Doyers.
Mhm.
I mean, if I saw that Joe Carter home run one more time, I think I was going to lose my mind. It's not like they were sitting there. I mean, I guess they did play the Federico home run a couple of times.
But I feel
So,
like because we hear him so often, like again, it's kind of a code switching, right? When he's in Dodger mode, you can hear like how he talks about our team. He's still pretty neutral though. Like he doesn't talk smack about the other team, but you could tell he had changed some of his vernacular, how he talked about, players and stuff to be more neutral. And I feel like because we hear him so often, at least I could recognize it. And I was like, oh, good for him. He's got a job to do.
yeah, I'm very curious to see how this streaming pans out. As I said, I think it's one of those absolute necessary evils. They have to go in there. But I am concerned now when you spread it out as they are spreading it out, what that's going to do to the consumer. I think it's just going to, honestly, to tell you the truth, Amy, I think it's just going to further make the sport regionalized
Hmm.
because it's like, hey, I'm not going to pay all that stuff to see other teams. Honestly, I think the easiest solution would just get MLB TV and get rid of blackouts. Get rid of
Done.
blackouts.
You just solved the problem.
Exactly. And why? I mean, I know why, because there's other businesses that are paying a lot of money to be able to stream those games. But it's one of those things. Again, guys, we're in a really good spot. Baseball's doing really, really good right now.
This is
Don't mess
everything
it
we
up.
asked for. Like,
Yeah,
don't,
don't mess
don't,
it up.
yeah. Yeah. You had
Any
something you wanted to cover.
well, one of the things when we're talking about the World Series and how the Dodgers are ruining baseball, and I'm sitting here arguing with you guys, look how good baseball was. I mean, everybody I know keeps asking me, Juan, was that the greatest World Series you've ever seen? And I'm like, I still don't know the answer to that, guys. I really don't. So there's all this, I feel like, positive energy, and then there's someone like Jason Kelsey on his podcast who goes around calling out the Dodgers for buying a World Series. And honestly, I feel like I don't want to sit here and say, dude, stick to football or stuff like that. But I do feel that sometimes people who don't cover the sport on a daily basis and then open their mouths and say something are telling on themselves that, oh, you really don't pay that much attention to the sport and you're speaking in general. Like when Stephen A. Smith talks about baseball, I completely it means nothing to me because I feel he tells on himself all the time that he doesn't watch baseball enough. And I feel like Jason Kelsey did the same thing where he told on himself that he does not watch baseball enough. You and I talked about this last time. The Azulejos also had a very high payroll. They spent a lot of money
They were the
and they
fifth in
were
they were the fifth
exactly.
in the payroll or in baseball. They had 255 million. We had 350. So we were $95 million apart. 95
And
million.
they
Yeah.
were rewarded by coming this close to winning the World Series, literally this close from winning the World Series. And again, I'm sure maybe Jason Kelsey doesn't know that. Maybe he doesn't pay attention to what other teams spend because they're constantly being spoon fed how much the Dodgers are spending, how much the narrative on here. And Amy, I just don't think this narrative is ever going to go away.
So, I mean, in regard to Jason Kelsey himself, like he's allowed to say what he wants. To me, it's a who cares. Like, I really don't care. It's clickbait, in my opinion, when you're trying to like raise other people's hackles like this. Because if I don't know about you, but when we prep for this show, like I like to have facts and things on here before I speak about something. There are certain things where we talk about our opinion, and like
I
I said,
don't. I like to, me, I like to freewheel it and then have you sit there and go, do you even know what you're talking about, bro? And then be like, I
Uh,
don't. I
the
don't.
internet's forever, and again, that's a certain level of privilege that you enjoy because if I do that, I'm gonna get a different kind of dialogue with people. So I have to double and triple check my stuff. That's where like he gets to have his opinion, but I also don't have to care about it. And to me, that's where it's like it's clickbait. I don't know if he was trying to do that or if that's genuinely his opinion. Like he said what he said, and then he kind of walked it back and said he got bamboozled by his social media team. And it's at the end of the day, none of that matters to me. The bigger part of this is kind of what you already touched on. Is the narrative out there so loud that the Dodgers spend so much money and people just take that one side of it? Or can we broaden that conversation? And yeah, they do spend money. Why aren't the other teams doing that? There is no rule in place saying that we're breaking the rules. So if you want to make more money, if you want to have more fans in your stadium buying more merch, why would you not follow their example then? They just paved the way and you didn't even have to do any research or marketing or anything to figure that out. So go do it. To me, the problem is the other owners that aren't doing it. And then the narrative that gets fed out there and people just continue to spit it out. And it's like, oh God, they're ruining baseball. Why? How? By bringing more money, by putting more butts in seats? How are they ruining it? How did they buy a World Series? Didn't all the players that everybody's mad that they have, other teams let them go? Other teams didn't get their contract. So what's the problem here?
It's interesting when you pose that question of why aren't more teams copying the Doyers model. I do think there are teams that are copying the Doyers model, but they're just doing it a little different. The Braves general manager is a former employee of the Doyers. Now, their approach was to sign all these young players to very long contracts for maybe under market value.
And we saw
I
something similar with the Padres, maybe not like a bunch of young players, but they locked in a lot of their players so they have a core.
Something to keep an eye out, ladies and gentlemen. Rumors are speculating the show pods may be up for sale. And it'll be very interesting if they do go for sale, who ends up buying that team. Because if you get somebody who's like a Cohen or a Mark Walter who buys the show pods, that completely can change, because you get somebody who has that mentality, who wants to make money. I think they could be printing money down in San
And you
Diego.
have a built-in fan base already. So it's
Exactly.
not like they have to try to get the fans back into the stadium. They already have them. So this is
Yeah.
like best case scenario if a good owner buys them or an
Yeah.
ownership group.
I think that would be a very appealing purchase. They have one of the best stadiums in the country, and exactly what you just said, Amy. You have people that want to go there. Plus, whenever they play the Doyers, you're automatically going to get sold out. The stadium's going to be sold out for the series. But again, back to your question about like why aren't other teams doing this? What I find very interesting, I don't know if you saw this, Amy, but in the news, I think it was last year, Mark Walter became the controlling owner of the Laguneros, the Los Angeles Lakers. And just recently, it was announced that Andrew Friedman and Zohan
Farhan Zaidi,
thank you. I just
I
dyslexia for
think.
cure found. Uh, Farhan Zaidi
Yeah.
have been named as consultants. And so this is when you sit there
Oh
and
my
you go,
gosh, they're spending too much money. They're ruining basketball.
well, what I find very interesting is basketball does have a salary cap. So here's the thing, guys. It's like, it's not like it's apples to apples, right? And plus, they're going over there as consultants. What is very clear to me is Mark Walter loves the structure, loves what he has going on with the Dodgers. He wants the Lakers to follow that same model that the Dodgers have. And I'm very curious, will it work in the NBA? Because if it does work, if the Lakers all of a sudden, because the Lakers aren't going to be able to throw the same amount of money that the Dodgers do, their sport doesn't allow it to. But if they get success, again, Amy, it's going to be more your question of why aren't more people following the Dodgers model?
But here's the thing with the salary cap that I think people are not using their critical thinking or reading comprehension. And we find this a lot in day to day, right? Is even if there is a salary cap, the Dodgers will still follow the rule and they're just going to come in under the cap. We're already seeing them spending wherever that is. So then once we institute this, potentially ruin the game, then at what point do we start holding the managers or the not the managers, but the owners who are continuing not to spend, even though we have this cap in place? When do we hold them accountable? Because you're going to have the Dodgers. The who do we have as I think I have the list here. So Toronto is fifth. You had
The
I'm
Mets,
trying to
the
find
Metropolitans, and the
Metropolitans
Yankees.
had the highest payroll this year, but you have like the Phillies who are spending money. So we're
Right.
seeing more teams starting to do it. Those same teams are going to continue to spend money. Now they're just going to have a cap. Nothing changes for them other than like, okay, I can't make a couple more, whatever. But okay, so then what are you still going to do with all these people who are crying poverty and continuing to collect baseball welfare from the luxury tax? Like, so then what? What are we going to hold them accountable at that point?
It's very interesting to again, this whole negotiation with the collective bargaining agreement is going to be fascinating to me. What they end up doing, for those of you who are curious, in terms of Farhan and Andrew Friedman being named as consultants and going into a different sport, they're not the first ones to do this. Do you remember the name Paul DePodesta, Amy? He
Sounds
used,
familiar.
he used to be the general manager for the Doyers.
Oh yeah, he's going to Colorado, isn't he?
He's going to Colorado, but he actually did a stint in the NFL
Yeah,
working for the Browns of Cleveland.
he
So
made a pit stop and then came back.
yeah, so this whole, crossing sports, I don't think it's that. I am, like I said, I'm very curious to see if they make it work, but it's clear the Dodgers have a brand that is viewed as successful out there, and I'm curious if it will catch on.
But this is the damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if in some lights, oh, it's viewed as successful, let's bring it over to the NBA, and then you have the other half like, oh my God, they're buying a World Series, and it's like, okay, but we've seen across the MLB, you can buy players, you can stack your team, but unless they have the will, like we've talked about it a bunch, these players aren't getting mad. You sit down Conforto, you put another guy up. Does Conforto want to play? Yeah, probably, but he wants the best guy out on the field at that point. Same thing, you sit somebody else down, you put Miggy Rowan. They just want the guy who can make the difference on the team that's going to get them that ring. So like, but not everybody's bought into that mentality. So I just people are going to demonize them or they're going to laud them. It sounds like again because things tend to be negative in this day and age that a lot of people like to tear down more. You're not going to change their minds. And hopefully, I mean, people will get a little bit more, I don't know, knowledge before the collective bargaining just so that they can scream a little louder against it. But you may not have that. So,
I mean, you think it's bad now because the Dodgers have won 2 World Series in a row. Imagine how bad it's going to be if they do three-peat. If they do end up winning a third, people are going to lose their mind. I'm a firm believer you can't buy a championship.
and
I think this.
it's disrespectful to the players and the work that the players, the coaching staff, and everybody, all the work they put in to just say that it was bought. So you're saying that none of the hard work that they put in mattered because they just bought it. That's so disrespectful to me.
Again, I think this World Series was a perfect example. The Blue Jays were this close to winning the World Series.
Well, and even like I think it was Kike and a couple of the guys during Mookie Betts podcast where they were saying like we didn't even play our best. They knew they were
Yeah.
playing like a straight line. They couldn't figure out how to rise above it, but they knew that it wasn't even their best and they managed to win. And it's just like, can you imagine if we had done better? Like yes, but also like, you know, maybe don't do too good, I guess, because then people are going to be screaming for your heads anyway.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna
Okay.
do?
Last topic, Amy. I'm gonna throw it to you because I know you're very excited about this topic.
I just ordered my gear last night too. So the WPBL, so the Women's Professional Baseball League, just held their draft last Thursday. So they're making history because it's the first time in over 80 years that you're going to have a women's professional baseball league since the All American Girls Professional Baseball League. I always get those letters out of order. The AAGPBL, I think. And I was surprised because the opening of the draft, which if you guys are interested in it, you can go watch the replay. It's on YouTube. So if you look up WPBL draft, you can find it on there. It's a little under an hour. The opening was by Manfred. Who saw that coming? I was just like, what?
Did it ruin it for you?
I was just like, why is he on here? He said it's an exciting time for women's sports and baseball is a game for everyone. He was basically just saying like he applauded the effort by everyone. It's helping the game take a huge step forward. My sarcasm isn't for what he's saying, it's just for him. Because all of these things are true. Like girls have the opportunity to watch the WPBL and aspire to play and participate. Like they have a place. I think there's a misconception when women say that they want to be included, especially when it comes to playing. You'll often hear the argument of like, well, you've got softball. some women don't want to play softball. Like Title IX made it so that most women had to go into softball, but like many women want to play baseball and they don't necessarily want to play in the MLB. They just want a place. This gives them that place that's their own. They can play against other women. They don't have to play on teams with men and have to deal with like I'm the only woman in this entire county playing or this entire league. So it gives them a spot. They had 4 teams basically going around for the draft at San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, and Boston. And so they went through it with 6 rounds, 20 picks per round, 5 picks per team. There were 30 draft picks. And it was just cool to see all of the women that were getting picked. Some of them like sent in little like videos, but it's across 10 different countries. So you saw videos from women from South Korea, from Japan, from Australia. We had a couple from Canada, like Dominican Republic, Curacao. Like it was so cool to see all of this, like people getting excited about it. So they have like hoodies and shirts and hats and stuff. So if it's something like maybe you're looking for something else, they'll be playing next summer. So it'll just the first round or the first season, I should say, will be just the 4 teams going against each other. But it looks pretty exciting.
Look, I'm rooting for it. I hope it's a success. Excuse my ignorance here, but none of these teams have official names yet, right? They're
No.
all going by the city name for right now.
Yep.
Do we know, will there eventually be a name for them,
I
or
don't know. I gotta ask. I'll kind of poke around because I know a lot of the people from the Sabre Women's Committee that I'm on, the IWBC. They're helping to consult or spearhead. They're on the boards of some of these things. So I'll get some more information. I will say I was most excited when Maggie Meidlinger got drafted in the first round. She was the 15th pick because she was the one that I went to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and we were the ones who spoke on that women's panel. So I was super excited. She got drafted to LA, so she'll be on our team.
yeah, and it's like a wide range in terms of age of
Mhm.
players. There is at least local to me in Anaheim,
Mhm.
Jill Abayeti. She's 21 years old and she got drafted. So
She was round 1, 16th drafted. Like, good for her.
yeah, so I look, I'm rooting for it. I watch the WNBA and I find it to be very exciting. And I know that it took some time for the WNBA to get to where it's at. So I know that this is not going to be an overnight success. But I'm looking forward to the first game, and actually I would go to this the first game for the Los Angeles team. So maybe
I'm
we should make
I'm
that a
not
field trip.
I'm not sure, but I think the games may all be being played in Illinois for this inaugural season. I'm not sure because I think they're just trying to keep all the teams close. But if they have a local game, I don't care how, we've got to go.
Or
Like,
maybe we need to take a field trip to Illinois. I would really love to watch one of these games live.
well, especially because like it is the history making part because, obviously we weren't alive like World War II when they were doing this the first time around. So I think it is kind of cool to just see how people are coming together to move this forward. And obviously like people have tried in different ways over the year. There was I think it was the silver bullets in like the God, I'm gonna misquote this and my mentor is gonna kill me. But like the 90s, they had that team. So you have like like some of these girls or women, like again, the age ranges, some of them are 20s, some of them are in their 30s. Some of them have played on teams. They've been on Team USA, Team Canada, Team Japan. So like they've played all over. They're finally getting a place where they can kind of come and play each other, where it's not just like the Olympics or like a random like competition. They actually have a league for themselves. So
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I would like to see it. I would like to see if I could see Dottie Henson, play live, or Marla Hooch, or Betty Spaghetti, or All the Way May.
all
Yeah,
of those are fictional players, but
what are
they
you
are
talking
based on
about?
live women.
I saw them play.
Oh, on the big screen.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes, in a league of their own.
That was a documentary.
Oh, right. Yes, my bad. Did you watch the one on Prime?
No, I did not.
So, for anybody who has not watched A League of Their Own, so like the 90s version that Penny Marshall directed, amazing. But she's even said herself that
Oh,
there are
there's a series. You're right.
yeah, so there and they didn't renew it for the next one, which I'm really bummed about. But there were a lot of things that Penny couldn't cover because at the time Hollywood she got the movie made of what she could get made. But going through with the series on Netflix, or not God, it's the
Amazon.
end of the night and my brain is fried. But on Amazon Prime, it talks about like racism, like gender and queer issues, all the things that were pervasive back then. And they had a lot of the women. So like Maybelle Blair she's still around, she's still touring. She was one of the people, she played for a year, but she consulted on the movie, she consulted on this, and one of the scenes in the movie is based off of her life. And there's actually a brand new book that just got written about her called All the Way by Dr. Kat D. Williams. So like a lot of this stuff, they're being very what is the word that I'm looking for? Intentional about how they make these so that it can be more accurate, because we do have the leverage in these times. So
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Some off-season recommendations for those of you suffering through withdrawals of Do Your Baseball. Check out that series available on Amazon.
maybe we need to have like a not on the show, but like a viewing, like not book club, show club.
You mean we can talk about movies and then the last movie that you saw?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah, we can do that.
On your movie podcast, we'll do that.
Send us the last movie you saw, ladies and gentlemen. Comment below.
Oh my God.
Any last words, Amie?
No, baseball.
There you have it.
We didn't even have a whole bunch of like topics like seriously woven together, and we still knocked out an hour and a half episode.
Of
Look at
course,
us.
because as you guys all know, we can talk. We get paid by the word. So on this show.
Oh, we do.
Oh, well, at least I do.
I
Anyways,
haven't sent any payroll out lately, so
that's going to do it for this show. For those of you that have been listening on the audio portion of the show, please make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Rate us, write us a review, help spread the word about the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us your comments. We love engaging with you. And most importantly, make sure you're following us on social media, on X at BB Shangri-La, on Instagram, YouTube, and Bluesky at Baseball Shangri-La. She's Amie Cuevas. I'm Juan Ramirez. Nos despedimos con un beso. Amie, say goodbye to the people.
goodbye, people.